Hey riders, this video review is for the second part of the DTE Foundation Trail system, the Big Kame Loop, or Blue Loop. I call it Kame, some call it Kame. In this video I'll just refer to it as Big K. This trail is a fun one no matter how you ride it or whatever direction you ride it in. My favorite way is the counterclockwise direction, so that's how this video was filmed. At roughly 4.75 miles, there's a good amount of thrills to be had here. There's been multiple times where I was bummed that I had finished the loop, so I just did it again. Looking at the elevation graph, you can see that there are two main hills on this loop. On the counterclockwise direction, the climbs aren't really all that bad. Even the ones that might get your legs burning won't last more than 60 seconds, especially if you have a more cross-country climbing type of setup. If you want a more uphill ride, come on clockwise days, which are Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays. Every downhill spot you see in this video, that's the stuff you'll ride up on those days. Quick shot from my Verb shows that you can get some pretty good speed on this trail. During perfect trail conditions like a day after it rains, you can probably go a little faster. Overall time it takes to complete this trail, on average I'd say is about 45 minutes. One quick thing I wanted to point out is, if you're coming from the Chelsea Road parking lot and say want to ride the blue trail before the green one, on clockwise days you would have to go through nearly all of the green trail in order to get to the Big K crossover. To bypass that, if you continue straight past the green trail trailhead and go straight through the field till you hit a fork, go right and Big K starts just a few hundred feet away. If you want to only do Big K, there's an entrance to it from the parking lot off Cassidy Road, which is the same lot that takes you directly to the Wind Loop also. Chelsea parking lot, there isn't a direct shot to Big Kame, so you'll ride the green trail to get to the crossover. At most, it's a 5-minute ride. It's a great way to warm up and get one last mechanical check while you're still close to the parking lot. When you first begin the trail, you'll start on a medium-paced uphill climb that has some nice winds and turns. Soon enough, however, you'll get a nice downhill section including some berms, rollers, and nice little jumps, but nothing more than a foot or two. But if you have a low seat or dropper post, you can hop from the face and get some good air. Just be careful not to have too much speed, because besides the two major tabletops, it can be easy to overshoot some of the landings. On some of the jumps shown, I needed to find a spot to downside that was different than the obvious one. It can be risky, but I say go for it if you're able to. Even without a dropper post, I've seen a fair amount of fixed seat cross-country riders, clipped in, do some pretty cool jumping. These guys are impressive because I find it too scary since I always ride flats. All that trails here at DTE, Big K can get sandy at times in the summer. The middle of the trail is generally packed down well and not an issue on the gentle straightaways. The only time the sand is an issue is when you're riding with speed or aggressively in twisty spots. Just like any obstacle, do your slowing down beforehand, which brings me to the berms. This basically goes with all berms, but since it gets sandy here, I'll make it a point to say stick to the middle as best as you can. I love pushing through the turns as fast as I can, but because of the sandy nature of them, it gets loose at the tops and bottoms. Even the middles can get slippery, which means if you're not balanced correctly, you're going to wash out, which is forgiving on most of the turns here, but there are some that you'd prefer to ride out of. I know from experience and from witnessing. You'll see in a few spots that there are some perfectly placed rock wedges throughout the trail. These rocks are terrific for getting some high-speed air out. However, know that the faster you hit these rocks, the more you'll have to focus on your jump technique. At lower speeds there isn't much to worry about, but since the launch part of the rock is so short, once your front tire leaves, it can kick up your back end and possibly send you nose first over the handlebars. The easiest way to avoid a crash landing is to keep your weight back and the bike level. There are downsides that are gently sloped down and long, so no matter what, you'll have a landing that you won't have to nose in on. There is one exception though. If you're really cruising, you may end up landing flat, past any purpose-built downside. The cool thing is, if you look, you can find side banks or natural bumps you can land on. Just be sure to check them out and ride within your skill level. There are many little jumps on this trail, and even though you can get air on the smaller ones, maybe a foot or so, my suggestion would be to push through them and low fly them, or to roll them and pump through to maintain your speed. Sometimes you'll find someone added a slight lip or reconstructed one off to the side. When you see these pop up, try them out. They usually make for a pretty fun line. I won't go through all the little jumps, just the two bigger ones on the downhill sections, past the stone bench. Here at the top is a great place to take a break, do some thinking. Okay, break's over. Back to riding. First big jump will come at you about 30 seconds after you pass the stone bench at the hilltop. This jump has about a 4-foot face on it and is 8 to 9 feet long. If you want to clear it cleanly, you'll have to go slightly faster than the speed the trail provides. Since the lip of these jumps usually get worn down from weather and riders, you're going to need to give it a good bunny hop to neatly downside the whole thing. You can get at least 3 feet of air doing so, and even if you come up short in case some, it still should be safe to ride out from. These downhill sections I find super fun. Keep in mind, especially at the speed, to slow down before the drops. Sometimes the rocks get sand covered and slowing or stopping on the rocks and bumps can result in something unpleasant. On this first downhill section, the best and smoothest line that I and many others take is mainly straight through the middle as you continue out with your speed through an easy curve. The second downhill rock is a little different. Even at trail speed, you might have too much speed to go through this safely. Immediately after the rocks is a sharp, tight berm to the left, and it's easy to go over and slide out if you're not prepared. The fastest line, like before, is through the middle, but it does throw you off your angle into the turn and there isn't enough time to correct your speed. I'm only speaking for myself in this one, but if you take the outside down the rocks, it'll set you up very nicely into the berm, allowing you to keep it flow. Before the second jump series comes up, you'll have a nice downhill run with rollers to pump through. all of which will really help if you plan to clear the upcoming jump, which has a nice 4-foot plus gradual launch and is around 12 feet long with an immediate 4-foot right berm that gently catches your speed. It's really fun if you go through this quickly. Right before the jump, there's a downhill for setup. To the left is a normal path that rolls you down in case you didn't have speed before, but if you're feeling dangerous, go to the right. On that side is a pretty good sized rock pile that has been made with smooth, even rocks arranged in a way that you can either ride over them, most likely losing your speed for the jump, or jump from them and downside the rest with the speed to clear the jump. Just like the other jump, you'll want to give this one a pretty good pop to get in the air and the distance to land clean. After you ride the berm, you're almost done. The rest of the trail is flowy and peaceful. There's still a few small optional techie bits you can do, but I say enjoy the woods. The end of this trail takes you to the beautiful part of the woods, so take some of it in. And that's pretty much it. BK is done. It's fun, fast, and exciting. If you have the time and energy, I say do it once more.